Good morning, everybody. GOOD spacebar MORNING. Spell it right? I spell it good? Yes? No? I didn't spell it good. How do you spell it, Adisa? You don't know? I spell it right? All right. Good morning, everybody. It is 11 minutes past the hour of 11 OCLOCK, and it's now time for our television and radio breakout session for Symposium this year. I want to give a very special welcome to our representatives from the University of Technology. Blessings to you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. All right. Yes, man. Thanks much. All right. So we're not going to be a bit too long. Also, if you haven't heard it already this morning or don't recognize my face, I am Matthew J. Wright, final year, television emphasis, major in the Department of Communication Studies. And today we have something very, very, very fantastic in store for us all today. We got somebody who's huge in the industry, who's going to be giving us some insight as to making it in the realm of television and radio. Now, I, for one, I love them both. I love watching TV and I love working in radio. Two of them nice. So at this time, we're going to go almost right into it. But beforehand, I need 4 people. I want to say 4 people, just randomly raise up your hands. If anybody 4 people can raise, that's fine because I know Tiffany is one of my volunteers. So you can come up to the stage, please. Thank you. Tiffany's one, and you can choose someone to come with you. So if you can just grab somebody, yes, man. All right, fantastic. All right, 3. I don't see who for. Y'all are gonna have to rock, paper, scissors. Carissa? No, I need 2 from DCS and 2 from UTech. All right, so my friend over here can come along and, all right. Right upstairs. Okay. Me just say upstairs? Okay, let me find myself. Where am I going to find myself? Over here. All right, let me set my laptop right about here. I'm going to turn this one on. All right, hand it over. All right, good morning. Can you share with us your names and how far along are y'all in your studies at UTech? And also if you like it.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, so my name is Daniela Irving. I'm from the University of Technology, Jamaica. I'm majoring in journalism, minor in public relations, and I'm a 3rd-year student.
That's great.
Yes, and I'm enjoying it so far.
That's lovely. That is lovely.
All right, guys. Good morning. My name is Davoy Big League Burton. And yes, I'm a student at the University of Technology in the Department of Communication Arts and Technology. I'm a 2nd-year student. I'm intending to major in journalism and minor in public relations. And I am enjoying it so far because, as we know, UTech has one of the best programs. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Tiffany Peart. I am a 3rd-year transitioning into my 4th year television emphasis student. And I must say, correction, NCU has the best communication department. Okay?
Morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm Regina Grant, and I am at television. My emphasis is television because it is the best, obviously, and I'm from NCU, so yes, right.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're not here to have a competition, no. All right? We're not starting that. So what I have you all up for today is nice. It's a little glimpse as to what happens in the industry because I'm sure that most, if not all of you, or even everyone here, would prefer to be behind the camera than in. What I say, head and nod already. That's fine. But we have to be comfortable with both. Have to be. So, and even when we get those opportunities to be in front of the camera, Murphy's Law is a big part of television production. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So I just want you to imagine yourself in a scenario. You're at your desk and you are live to the masses on the global scale. I'm not even going to set it on the national. The global scale, you are live. And your teleprompter decides to fail right as it goes on you. And you only have 1 minute and 30 seconds to fill until they can cut to commercial. What are you going to do? Well, that's my challenge today, and we call it, I give it the name pivot. How are you going to function when the teleprompter decides same one, tiff out? So, here I have my teleprompter here, and let me see. Y'all are not going to be able to see the first statement or the story. That will be up to my broadcasters. We have a deal? Well, you're already up here, so therefore you're my broadcasters. We have a deal. Alrighty. So so you will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to really fill the gap so that we don't have any dead air before we cut to commercial. Cool? All right. So like I'm over here, I'm starting over here.
So we say we have 1 minute and 30 seconds. We can bust a mass again? Or we can? Yeah, okay. Anyways. I don't think I'm ready for this, you know.
You will be. That's a part of it. And you can read it, right?
Yeah. Before we read that.
And you fill. In 3. All right, we're coming to you. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wait, we're still on? I thought we were in commercial. Anyway, the reason I don't think the audience can handle the truth about the moon is that the cow has jumped over it, and many people don't really understand why. But I think it was back in my grandmother's days when, cows were very, unoccupied and had no reason to milk at the time. And, them just decided to jump over the moon. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you think the cow really jumped over the moon? That's a question when we return from our commercial break. Cut it to 1888. What do you mean 1 minute and 4 seconds? Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we do it here at Nationwide 90 FM. And, when I think about the cow story, I went back to when I used to tie out cows, in the field with my brother and sister. And, as a child, I was very lovely. So one night I sat up very late to see if the cow actually jumped over the moon. And when I saw that the cow, actually jumped over the moon, I said, the audience cannot handle the truth about the moon. Because, sir, let me see time. So we can know, all right, 30 seconds. So I realized that persons cannot really handle the truth about the moon. Or the sun, or the stars. Because Joseph had a dream about the sun, the moon, and the stars. Am I preaching to somebody here? But, in the light of that, ladies and gentlemen, we return with, more news after the 18884 commercial. Yeah, man, you can cut it off. Prompter, run the prompter. Montage. Yes, come from the best. Communicate.
From the EST, no problemo. Alrighty.
All right.
This is a team effort.
Okay.
That's cheating, by the way.
No, it's not. No, it's not cheating because when you look at a news setup, you always have another co-host.
Right.
And they're always talking between each other. Talking to ourselves, we don't.
Yes, no problem.
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker. You see how abrupt things have fallen on me for me to do all of that?
Right.
And you have 10 facts about the moon when I'm phone.
Well, really and truly, they're not getting the same story.
Okay.
Yeah, so as the young people would say, auntie now no milk. Alrighty, ready to go. We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a shocking turn of events, the mayor has just released a statement regarding the missing zoo penguins. And my personal involvement in this is that I went to the zoo the other day in Regina.
Oh, really?
And I saw this penguin. It is so beautiful.
Wow.
It's called, her name is Spot, actually.
Spot.
Yes, and everyone loves Spot.
Yes.
And I believe that we should go and advocate that Spot must be returned to the zoo.
I believe so too, because these animals are very important to us and the environment, so they really should be returned.
Right, as I agree with that. And these penguins aren't meant for our temperature. They're supposed to be in a climate zone or in a temperature where it's cool and relaxed for them.
Yes. Yeah.
And I believe also that we should start making posters. I would advocate for everyone to make posters about the penguin that is missing. And put her up on all your little walls in your corners of your streets and say this: bring back the penguin to the zoo. Bring her back.
Yes.
Yes.
Because awareness is very important. So by posting these posters, right, we'll be bringing awareness to everyone who sees the posters.
Not only that, I believe that nationwide can help us spread
yes,
this news,
definitely. Yes.
As well as the fact that there are little children out there who love penguins. And as, growing up, I had a penguin stuffed little
Same, actually same, yes.
And her name, let me tell you, I feel like...
time.
Hey, Ben,
Well done. Well done.
you didn't give me the rubber sack. Bad on you. Shame on you.
I have the laptop in my hand, so I can't.
Yes, you can do this. Wrap this up. Wrap this up.
The walls in the corner of the screen.
Yes, there are walls in the corners of the street.
So the boy can help her too.
If you would like to recruit someone to help, that's totally fine.
Yes.
Journey man Jesus, journey along.
Okay, we ready to roll? Yes, man, but this is one for those of you who watch Matrix. All right, we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Breaking news, scientists has just confirmed that we are in fact living inside a giant computer simulation, and the off switch is located in an underground building in America. Reporter Devoy has more information on that.
So there you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. I am standing currently outside that, underground building somewhere in America. The state is not yet to be named because we don't want a large crowd assembling on the outside. But this switch, I must tell you, what were we talking about?
That we're living in a giant computer?
Yes, in a giant computer simulation, and the off switch, yes, as I was saying before, is inside here. And we're wondering if we should really hit that off switch. But I'm just taking note of the young lady at the back who is taking a snap. Could you take a snap of me as well with the off switch? Thank you. Smile. Time. All right. Could you smile with me and my co-reporter? Smile. How much time is left? Okay. So please, for more information, for more updates, please check out our local social media platforms, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, or you can listen to us on the radio or television Jamaica. Thank you. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hand over back to my reporter to close things off.
Yes. Let me finish. Yes, and we'll be back next Thursday with more updates. Reporting live from TVJ News, I'm Daniela Irving.
And I'm Devoy Burton. 1884, Gastro.
Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for participating. That's wonderful. Now, what is it that we have learned from all of this fun that we've had? What have we learned? Really? Yes, Mr. Irving, what have we learned?
This is Mr. Burton, that's Irving.
Oh, my bad.
But improvisation is very critical when doing these type of things. You have to know how to improvise and how to actually make it count.
Yes, man, you have to know how to pivot. So I give thanks to everyone who has participated. And now we get to the main course of our breakout session. So, coming to us is a seasoned broadcaster and media executive with over 20 years in journalism, production, and newsroom leadership. He currently serves as the deputy executive producer / editor at Nationwide, where he helps shape editorial strategy and co-hosts the flagship programs Nationwide This Morning and Nationwide at 5. He also held senior roles at CVM TV and Sportsmax TV, covering major international sporting events and producing award-winning news and current affairs content. A former two-term president of the Press Association of Jamaica, he is very passionate about mentorship and developing the next generation of communicators. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Marketing and International Business from the University of Technology, Jamaica, and is widely respected for his engaging on-air presence, editorial leadership, and commitment to excellence in Caribbean media. He is very passionate about helping young communicators find their voice in today's fast-paced media world, and that is why this breakout session entitled Personality Engineering, Building Authentic Presence for Television and Radio is designed to show students how to build confidence, develop their on-air style, and craft a media persona that feels very real and very relatable. So as we welcome Mr. George Davis to Northern Caribbean University's 2026 Week of Excellence, get ready for an engaging, insightful conversation with a broadcaster who truly understands what it takes to shine, both behind the mic and in front of the cam. So without any further ado, I introduce Mr. George Davis.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Matthew. Do I sit? Do I stand? I can't sit. Do I have to use the mic? Oh, you want audio? Okay, cool. So, good morning, class. Good morning, friends. Good morning, everybody. I hope you have energy left after that very, very witty and different icebreaker. I really liked it. I've never seen one like that before. Yeah. All right. So, one of the things for me that is very important is to ground your antecedents. Here's what I mean. From ever since I was in school, when I was in high school and they brought a speaker to talk to a group of us, whether the boys alone or in third form or fourth form when they choose the subjects, or fifth form when you're looking to transition out of secondary into tertiary or into work, I also wanted to know the background, the antecedents of who was speaking, because in my mind, if you know really cut no dash in a particular field, you know, what qualifies you to come and give me advice? Yeah? It's like people who are music critics who never write a tune from them barn, who is telling Taylor Swift why that song she wrote is crap. Is telling Beyonce why her album is rubbish. Is telling Cardi B why, you know, that the songs she selected on the opening night of her tour were wrong. Telling Jermaine Edwards, boy, he must go plant yam now because the gospel thing leave him. And I'm saying, wait, but you can't write song, you can't produce songs. So what gives you the bona fides to step to somebody and tell them how to do it? So I firmly believed in walking the walk before you can talk the talk. And I firmly believe in sharing with people what is your experience that gives you the right to come here and talk to them. What is it that qualifies me to have been invited in the first place, accepted the challenge, and come here to speak to people like you who have talent, who have ability, and who are going places. So Matthew gave me a nice introduction. Thank you for that introduction, Matthew. But in brass tacks terms, I started this journey of media, broadcasting, communication from I left university in 2005. Long time, I don't know. How many people in here were born born after 2005? Oh, almost everybody? Okay, good. All right, good. But there are some people here who weren't. All right, good. So coming straight out of university into media, I set out on a deliberate approach. I set out to do what the topic today calls for, which is to engineer a personality. Over time, I've done many things. One of the things I benefited from, and you heard Matthew speak in the opening about my love and my interest in mentorship is because I received very good mentorship from people who were giants in the business. Even if I never have no ability, I may only have a little bit of ability. But really and truly, what has helped me to get to this point is the help from others. So you have legends in the business like Ed Barnes, Cliff Hughes, Lance Whitaker, Erica Allen, to name some people who may be different from your generation. I hope you recognize at least two of the names. But these were people who had done it before, who took me under their wing and said, young man, this is the way to do it. Like many people leaving university, I thought I was the bee's knees. Yeah, like, I know everything. So even though I didn't study media and communication and journalism, I always knew that I wanted to work in that field. So as he said, my degrees, marketing and international business, 4 years at UTech. And on campus, I was involved in many things. So I went to 3 World Universities Debating Championships. I went to 2 Caribbean Intercol Debating Championships, 1 final, lost the final, and won the next year. Was involved in coaching football at UTech, involved in Students' Union. I was the vice president in charge of public relations. I was the international affairs chairman of the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students. So you leave university feeling like, say, yeah, I know everything, nobody can tell me, I'm bright, look on my CV, whatever. Walking into a newsroom, I was quickly disabused of anything about brightness or quality because you were in an environment that you had to learn from scratch because you knew nothing. You knew absolutely nothing. And so one of the things that I struggled with, everything I had tried up to that point in my life, I was succeeding. And I went in there as a very young man. And, you're looking at, all you have done so far, all the accolades that you have on paper. And you're walking into a newsroom where there are people who don't have degrees. Who, because they don't have degrees, you automatically think you're better than them because, you don't have no degrees. So I may have this, that. I did this at university. I've been to South Africa to debate and to Singapore and Malaysia and London and blah, which I actually did. So you have this attitude to the people who just go high school like, yeah. It turns out those people became your masters because they're the ones who knew the area that you were now just going in. So it was a major attitude adjustment to humble yourself, to listen to the people who you felt, because they never have any degrees, you were better than, and to learn from them till eventually you could come up to the level that they were in the profession. And that was a very humbling experience. And that was the early part of personality engineering because there were many people like me who would walk into an environment where they came with a golden CV then, a golden resume. And because you go with a golden resume, you start disrespecting the people who you interact with because you feel that they are lesser than you because on paper they don't match. And even though you realize that in the work they are superior, you still don't bow to that because you believe that what is really mattering is what is on paper. Some people didn't submit themselves to the humility of the experience and start engineering their personality at that point to be successful. I recognize that you had to do that, and the people that you thought that weren't good enough, they became the people who taught you and who are responsible for what you subsequently became. So I'm very happy for that experience, and I'm very happy that I was at least aware enough to relinquish ego, to relinquish what you thought you knew, to disabuse yourself of this notion that you are better than people, and to humble yourself and learn from everybody and learn from the environment. And that was where personality engineering started. Now, in my career, I've been blessed to have done many things. I've done elections. How many general elections have I done in Jamaica? The first one was 2007. So 2007, 2011, 2016, 2020, 2025. That's 5. I've done 2 in Trinidad and Tobago. 2 in Barbados. I was one of 21 journalists who went to the US in 2008 for Obama's first election. Yeah, so I covered that campaign for a month. And name the sporting event, I've been there. World Cup, Olympics, I've done World Cup, I've done World Cup cricket. I've done horse racing, I've done road race, meaning I've been to Barbados to cover horse racing, to analyze. I've been to Barbados to cover road race, to commentate. I've done commentary on hundreds of schoolboy football games, Premier League games in Jamaica. Name it, I've done it. I've interviewed Obama, I've interviewed LeBron. I joke with my friends. I say, you know, what the most famous person you interview? Andrew Holness, and him laugh. I say, yeah, but you know, we do other things, just in good fun. So I say this to say, I'm grounding my experience to satisfy your perhaps curiosity as why this man come here and talk to me. So I hope I've established that I may know a thing or two that can help you on your journey. So let's talk about personality engineering now. It has to start, my friends, with attitude adjustment. It has to start with the fact that you know nothing, that the environment you're walking in is virgin territory. It's unknown, it's uncharted territory. You are going in as a vessel, you're going in to receive, you're going in with an appetite to learn. And it was when I realized that that's how I had to be, that I started learning, that I started getting along with everybody, getting along well with everybody around me, and I started on this long journey to being in a position in media where I can interview people, I can offer people a job, I can give people advice, I can shape the direction of a media house, I can influence the way that media works in the country and in the Caribbean. So I say, when I say personality, what do you understand personality to mean, my friend? All right, good, I'll accept that, my friend. When I say personality, what do you explain personality to mean? Characteristics you portray. All right, I'll take that. My friend at the back, what do you, no, you. What do you understand personality to mean? Who you are. I'll take that. My boss, what do you understand personality to mean? You take man. What do you understand personality to mean? Who you are as a person and how you carry yourself. All answers, all right. Different things. When I say personality engineering, what do you get from that concept, personality engineering? Yes. Talk so that everybody can hear. Yeah. Engineering. All right, I'll accept that. Personality engineering. Very good, I'll take that as well. Personality engineering, since you're a drink. Welch. Yeah, but that's fine. Yeah. All right. Everybody's right. Everybody's right. Personality engineering is just a fancy term. In real terms, it's an AI term, artificial intelligence. It doesn't really directly apply to media. It's how they trade the large language learning models. They get the AI and they train the AI to reflect the qualities of the brand. So Digicel's automated customer care robot, or JPS's. Whoever go online to pay them JPS bill and they say the bot that right, the AI right. So JPS, based on its core values and its personality, it trains its AI to reflect the JPS values in its interaction with its customers, and that will be different from how the Digicel AI bot is trained to interact with you, because Digicel has different core values and a different way of doing business from JPS. Not for the fact alone that they are in different businesses. One is media and communication, one is utilities, yeah? or NCB would train its AI. So that's what they call personality engineering. It's really an AI term. But personality engineering is something that all of us do every day, all the time, and all of your answers suggest that it is how do we format our attitude given the environment we're in. If you were sheltered growing up, and you're in an environment where people are conservative, people are downstated, and you're comfortable in that setting. If you go to a different environment where people are loud and outgoing and everything, you will, without losing yourself, you will adjust how you are to fit in, to get along without losing the essence of who you are. That is personality engineering. What it is as it applies to media and communication. You have to, as an on-air personality, whether you're a radio presenter or a TV presenter, you have to adjust who you are to suit the purposes of what you are delivering in terms of the program you're hosting and ensuring that that adjustment sits well with your audience. Let me tell you a secret. Success in media has nothing to do with talent. You could have bright like the morning star. If you have no personality, you are going to fail. There are many bright people who've tried media because themselves bright. Okay, so Mr. Jones is an expert in economics. So you know what? We should hire him as our financial expert or financial analyst or economic go-to guy when there are matters concerning the economy because he's brilliant in economics. But the man has no personality. He has the personality of a cardboard box. And I'm not saying you do. Yeah? Yeah? So he goes on air, and all he can do is spit out numbers. And, you know, a giffen good is this, that, and by virtue of raising the price, you're treating it as a giffen good, and the inelasticity of demand means that the dollar won't stretch, and the marginal coefficient to this and the and you're saying, what is going over your head as the audience? Because he doesn't have the personality to relate to you. The trick in media and broadcasting, my friend, is this. Your audience is made up of people of varying levels of intelligence. That's a fact. You have bright people, you have people who are not so bright, you have people who are in between. The commonality among all of the different segments, the different pockets in your audience, everybody wants to know. The bright man want to know. The man who not so bright want to know. Him keen, he want to learn, he want to come up to a certain level, so he listen to you if you give him information. Your challenge as a broadcaster is to present yourself and what you are doing, whether you're presenting a financial analysis program, you're talking about religion, you're talking about news and entertainment. Your challenge is to speak to everyone in the audience so that they understand you. That's very difficult to do because some people can only connect to the bright people who listen to them, and they lose those who are not at the apex of intelligence and information and awareness. And then you have some people who can only speak to those who are the ground. Them can't talk to people who intellectually advanced. So you and I will be listening to them and say, yo, why do I have to dumb down everything? I'm an idiot. Why do I talk to me like this? I understand these basic things. Don't give me that you're speaking to me like you're speaking to a child. And that's what you and me, all of us in this audience who are educated people, would say to a presenter who can't connect with us because they can only speak to the person at the foot of the intellectual ladder, if we are to have an intellectual ladder. And then the opposite happens, where some people can only talk to the top and not connect to the bottom. Your challenge as an excellent broadcaster is to engineer your personality and your delivery so that every one of your audience, every different group, has a reasonable chance of taking something valuable from listening to you day by day or one-off, because that is the assignment as a presenter. It makes no sense leaning heavily on your academic training because that won't help you. It's personality. Listen, people have presenters who they listen to every day on radio or watch every day on TV, and they don't like them. I don't like that man. I don't like that girl. But you watch every day? Yes, I do. Why? Yeah, because, sometimes you say something, you just feel like more lock off the TV. But sometimes it makes sense, and think. So, you see, it's almost like a trap. You don't like the person, but the person's views sharpen your own perspective of the things you are consuming as news. So you see a benefit in listening to the person, because even though you don't like the person is always well-researched. The person is always engaging. The person always gives you a point. So if you like to argue, based on the fact of the arguments that the person is making, you don't agree with anything the person is saying, you know. But based on what the person is saying, you know the points of attack that will come from someone else who will be disagreeing with the point of view that you hold. So that person is in a way sharpening your own debate skills, giving you information. So you're anticipating points of attack. You're anticipating a kind of reasoning. So when you go elsewhere, you are prepared to counter those arguments because you've heard the presenter who you don't like but who you watch every day make those points. And so it's almost like training for you. So it's that kind of relationship. A lot of people listen to people and watch people who they don't really like, but the person engages them. And they like to listen to somebody who call the person and probably show them up. Say, yeah, man, you go on like you're bright and the man just call you and done you a while ago. They like those things. And if you think a lie, may I tell, just check. People who watch TV, people who listen to radio. There are a lot of people say, boy, I can't stand a man there, but I listen to him every day. I can't stand a woman there, but I listen to her every day. As a little boy, I couldn't stand Barbara Glodon on Hotline. But I listen every day. Because there was something about it. She sounded like somebody. She used to host the Hotline program on RJR from... Time hotline start again, 10 o'clock till about 1 o'clock, right? And she always sounded like a woman who was at her home cooking. Somebody called her up on the phone and about her and her pot a bun up. And she said, Lord God, man, call the Consumer Affairs Commission, call the Fair Trading Commission, call the government. And every call sounded like that, but I was hooked. I just kept listening and listening and listening and listening. And that's how I knew before stepping into this area that there are things about a person's personality that will keep you supporting and consuming things from them, even when, on a personal level, based on the persona they project across the airwaves, you don't think that it is somebody who you could get along with outside of the relationship between them presenting and you consuming what they present. It has to start as well, my friends, with a solid information base. The reason people can say, I don't really like you, but I listen to you. I don't really like you, but I watch you, is because you make reasoned arguments. Someone will say to you, say, listen, the point you made about P.J. Patterson's legacy as Prime Minister, I disagree with the point you make very strongly. But I listened to all of it because it was well researched. You grounded it, you established why you don't like the man. Even though I disagree with you, say you don't like the man, you know. But you never just wake up and feel so and just come. You gave the data, you did a correlation, you did a juxtaposition, you did a comparison, you did a contrast, you looked at it in depth, and I appreciate your commitment to research, even though your conclusion does not find favor with me, at least you are researched. Somebody can appreciate that. So you have to ensure that if you're giving your audience something, you're giving them from a position of knowledge. I absolutely hate the fact that people can go on, or not even go on radio or TV, but they can be in this room and we're having a discussion. And they say, you know what? I don't think we should paint this room yellow. And one of you says, okay, so which color should we paint it in? I don't know, but I just know I don't like yellow. All right, okay, but you must have an alternative color. Yeah, I don't know, I can't buy that thing, but no color, I just don't want it yellow. Them people, I can't say I want to kill them, but... And a lot of people are like that. And a lot of people are like that in regular circles, and then they bring that into their roles as TV and radio presenters, and it cannot work. It can't work. You must have a reason why you don't want it in yellow, and you must have an alternative color. It is logical, and people appreciate when it is that you have an alternative, even if they don't agree, but you can say, well, I think baby blue is better because when the light hits from the glass, from the window here, those of us who have astigmatism or whatever it is, who struggle with the blinding light because the room is yellow, we have a better time seeing the board, looking at our notes, even looking at our phones. We don't have to adjust our devices when we come in. So given that so many people in here wear glasses and so many people have vision problems who even don't wear glasses, it is a better thing to put it in baby blue because it allows for a more comfortable experience, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, me hear you, but I hear it out painting now. You understand? So at least you have grounded it. So I'm saying, don't take this bad habit of disagreeing with something, of challenging something and not putting a reason on the table. You have to have a reason, and the reason has to be reasoned. It has to make sense, even if we don't agree. You know, one of the greatest compliments you can get? If somebody says, listen, You made such a brilliant argument. It was well researched, well laid out, but I disagree. You can't vex with a person who tell you that. You can't vex with a person who tell you that. Yeah, because they're acknowledging that you have put work into your contribution, into your position. And this goes back to the personality you're engineering, because even if you stay so away from the broadcast booth, even if that's how you are away from the TV studio, away from the TV set, you realize that your audience demands a certain level of engagement. So I have to adjust this part of my personality to ensure that I don't turn off the members of my audience. I have to ensure that I'm representing something that someone can understand, even if they don't agree and accept. As human beings, we get this mixed up. We believe that not only must a person understand what we're saying, but they must agree. And if you say you understand, how can you then disagree? Yeah, but I disagree because I understand. I am opposing your view because I understand what you're saying. Maybe if I never understood what you're saying, I wouldn't have a position. But because I understand the way I say foolishness, I disagree. That is it. So it is about making that adjustment because of your audience. Listen, it doesn't matter how well you think you are doing. It doesn't matter how well you think how highly skilled you think you are. All that matters is what your audience thinks. And sometimes we take up a position to be very provocative to our audience. We adopt a persona. For instance, when I worked at Sportsmax, before it closed down, went to 27 countries live every day. The Sportsmax zone from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Jamaica time, live to 27 countries. Yeah? All of the Caribbean, plus it went to the diaspora centers where most Caribbean people live, in Newark, New Jersey, and Toronto. And going on, I realized that, all right, I'm a Manchester United supporter, so obviously the Liverpool supporters are going to hate me. No matter what me say, tell them, say their mother is a woman, they're going to say, no, them disagree. Yeah? So I had to play on this natural animus between me and Liverpool supporters. And I played it. Sometimes I just wear Manchester United jersey for no reason at all. Because I know someone said, Jesus Christ, watch your man on the TV in a Man U jersey. More watch the show, I can't watch it because I'm Man U man, I don't want nothing for the Man U people. So you are provoking your audience. But you're engaging. So they watch to see, Lord God, Man U win today. I wonder if I'm going to wear one jersey today. Or Man U lose today, let me see if I'm going to wear the jersey today. That kind of thing. And also, sometimes I'd wear a jacket, a blazer, like Modavana, pink blazer with a blue tie and a yellow pocket piece. Look like a clown suit. But guess what? After the show, someone messaged me and said, George, you know, so I flip through the channel and I see up on the TV and I said, Lord God, what kind of jacket and what kind of dress like that? I said, go give my friend and ask her if you say if this look good. And you put it in the group and we say, this look good, and then I say it don't look good. And I say, well, you've done me a favor. What do you mean? I say, well, if I wasn't wearing those colors, you wouldn't have stopped flicking through the channel. You wouldn't have sent the video to your friend. You wouldn't have put it in the group. So I wear it because I want people to talk about it. I want the show to be shared among as many people as possible. I say, oh, I never think about that. I say, yes, so you have done what exactly I wanted you to do, which is to spread the word about the show. Look what I'm on a jacket in. Look like a clown, not true. Yes, I want to be spoken about. I want the jacket to be spoken about. I want the show to be spoken about. That's what broadcasters do. You do things sometimes. You adopt positions because you know that there are people in your audience who will be triggered by what you say, who will send what you say to somebody. They say, listen, hear that idiot here talk about analyze election, and you know nothing about election. He just born the other day. We know about 1944. We know about universal adult suffrage. What does he know about the time in Jamaica when you had to be a white man over 25 years old, own property or own cow in order to vote? How you even know that you were born 1982? Yeah? That is what you do. So you are now reversing the thing. So rather than having a personality that is dictated by what your audience wants, you are now using your persona to influence how the audience consumes your show and how the audience feels about you. So you gain a reputation as a provocateur. You gain a reputation as a controversial person. And then that leads me to this next point. Some people who are broadcasters want to be safe broadcasters. So they want to present their show on radio or TV. They want to read their news if they're a news anchor. and they don't want to attract any attention. They want to be slow and steady and just go home at the end of the day. Fine. Other people want to stand out. They want people to associate them with something. They want to be known for something. So they're over the top and loud. Oral Tracy on TV. Do you think I saw Oral Tracy in a real life? No. But him knows that provoke you all. Watch him. And people cuss Oral Tracy every day, and yet they do what? They watch Oral Tracy every day. And then they go on Hits 92 and they listen to him again on the sports program to hear if him come with the foolishness him come with on TV last night. That is brilliant use of persona. That's a personality perfectly engineered. Because enough time I hear him talk, and I say, Jesus Christ, what a man. How you say that? How you say apartheid was a good thing? How can you say the segregation and the subjugation of black people by white people was a good thing as one, not oral, one prominent radio host, sportsman was heard to say in the past? So I was very disappointed. I'm saying, listen, I will never listen to this guy again because this guy's an idiot. How can you say the system in South Africa whereby the whites who came there subjugated the blacks, put them in a, treat them as subhuman? How can you say nothing was wrong with that? And I saw him and I said, brother, you know, so I stopped listening to you from that. He said, but George, you should have known better. I said, what do you mean? He said, you know, people have strong views on that. And I was just tapping into the segment of my listeners who think it would be idiotic to say that. And I got many letters and many phone calls and much interaction from people who otherwise would not have spoken to me. And I said, boy, that's a high-risk way to get traction. And they said, well, yes, we're living in the traction economy. And I said, all right, so good point made. I wouldn't do it, but he did it for a purpose. That is a personality engineered to be able to take that risk with his career, knowing that at the end of the day, no matter what people say about him when they curse him, the fact is that they're still consuming the content and cursing him. And that's part of the challenge that we have as people. How much is too much? How many of us are able to represent our true selves on air? Because here's another part of it. Another way to look at personality engineering for radio and television is a simpler word, much less complex than the phrase personality engineering, and it's curate. To curate means to select, to organize, and to look after. So I say, what's your name, sir? Jaylan. If I say, Jaylan, I want you to curate that plant for me. You're going to ensure the plant is watered, that any weeds growing, you pluck them, any dead leaves, you cut them off, you're looking after the plant. Your personality is like that. It is something that you curate. And sometimes, some of us have the skill to translate a bubbly personality off camera, outside of the radio booth. We are able to translate that on air. So you know what happened now? An old lady listened to you, and she liked it because she said, boy, you remind me of my son. You just give me son vibes. He said to you, says, if your daughter brought me home, you'd be happy to see me. Not yes, man, you could have been my son-in-law because I just love you. I'm just saying, you joke with the audience. A teacher listens to you. And I say, boy, you know, based on how you're sharp, based on your recall, based on how you are always bubbly, I'd have loved to teach you. Yeah, and that forms, that bond that is formed by virtue of that aspect of your personality being leveraged is the greatest thing that can happen to you as a broadcaster. So people love you for something because they see realness in you. They see authenticity. This is another thing again. Broadcasting works best when the talent is seen by people as being authentically that. Meaning, your representation of yourself on air, people think say, so you stay in a real life. Some of us are not that in real life. Some of us are manufactured. So the personality is engineered. It is built to appear this way on TV because a lot of people who appear to be kind and gregarious, outgoing, when they turn off, they say, okay, cut, that's it, that's a wrap. They're horrible to their staff. They treat them producers like waste matter. Their directors, the makeup artists, you talk to her like she's a little girl. The security at the door, you don't even say good morning when you come in. But when you go on here, you have this lovely, oh my gosh, you know, I love people and people love me and my personality is so, and it is false. Because that's also a personality engineered to as a means to an end. It has a desired effect of making people think that you are this wonderful person and pull people into falling in love with you, into appreciating with you, into seeing you as somebody who's an extension of their family. And that brings me to my next point. The successful broadcaster, radio or TV, achieves ultimate success when the members of your audience see you as someone they would invite over for dinner. Somebody who, if I cook out of my yard, I'm going to invite you to come. Because you represent yourself as such a decent, authentic, genuine person. It doesn't matter what area of media you are in. And there are many of us who get a lot of invitations. People are christening and picnic. You can't come, you have the time. People have birthday party for them 5-year-old grandson. Oh, you can't come. A man I get married. I remember once I had a listener in St. Mary, a security guard. And the man came from St. Mary, took bus and came to ask me if I could come to his wedding. I don't know this man. And the man explained to me, say, Mr. George, a long time I listened to you from your little youth, you know. Yeah, so I said, well, I'm an old man now. He said, no, but, you know, over the years and things, I really appreciate the man. I'm talk about it to all of my colleagues. Everybody knows I'm a big nationwide fan, and you are my number one. And it would mean a lot to me and my lady. If it just pass through, how you going to tell him no? Him take a bus from St. Mary. Him take a bus from St. Mary. Yeah, him take time off from his job as a security guard. You know, security guard, if you don't work, you don't get paid. Yeah, and he came. And he said that to you. How could you say no? So I'm saying there are some of us in the space who are able to represent our true selves on air. And people see you as an extension of their family. And that's the ultimate level you can get as a broadcaster. The personality engineered also has to treat those around you with respect. The reason radio is more difficult than TV, but TV is harder than radio, if that makes sense. Let me tell you. See, the exercise you did at the start with the speaking extemporaneously at the top of your head to fill airtime. In radio, based on how radio is, that part of your training makes that easy for you to do. But those TV people who don't have the radio exposure, they will struggle because everything in TV is tightly scripted. I hated TV because if we have a segment, there's a scripted lead in. Thankfully, I used to edit the scripts. So the reporters wrote it, sent it to me, I edited it, so it was written. I mean, if I was reading it, I'd write it for me. If Lance was reading it, I'd write it for Lance. I'd edit for Lance. If Mariah or Alex, I'd edit it for them. But it was so tightly scripted, and because of the time, you had to stick to the script. In radio, you can just, and I knew that there was a possibility that I could do well as a broadcaster after one event. It was a hurricane. I think it may have been Ivan. No, I wasn't there then. I was still at school. It was the hurricane after Ivan. Sandy, may have been Sandy, one of them. And they said to me, well, young boy, you can't go home, you have to stay here whole night through the hurricane with all of us, all right? And then Cliff Hughes calls me as a sapling, as a little youth, and said, come, we're going on air. What we're going to do on air? He said, me, we're going to talk. If people call in, we talk to them, and then we talk about things that are happening. And he and I were on air for 4 hours straight, talking and engaging, and people calling in, boy, may I enjoy the 2 hours. And I said, Rotted, you know, this thing can work. You know, I am not so dumb after all. I can make it in this vocation because your ability to be able to speak, to relate life experiences. Mr. Jones, this is nationwide. Mr. UTech man does as well. And they know that our program is filled with stories about, you know, somebody there primary school is happening, somebody there UTech this happening, somebody there high school is happening. You think I just tell more and tell stories? The producer is telling me in my ear, George, the guest I'm trying to get, I can't reach him. Can you guys stretch for 5 minutes? Can you give me 3 minutes? Can you do it for 10 minutes? Simple thing. I will just find something and start talking about. That comes from a place of comfort with your craft. That also comes from a place of skill that you would have earned over time and understanding what your audience wants. And the things I pick to talk about aren't random. Yeah, if I was doing sports, I'd talk about something different. If I was on Cliff Hughes Online, I'd just talk about something different. If I'm on NTM, I'd talk about something different. So the last thing I want to say as he gives me the wrap-up signal is this. You have to adapt to your environment as a broadcaster. The audience wants you to do well, but the audience wants you to give them something to like you for. The audience wants you to present a package of offerings that they can find 1 or 2 things that them say, yeah man, I like that little girl here, I like that little youth here, I'm going to support him all the way. And people are like that, you know. There were people who in my early struggles, when I just started reading sports and I make pure mistake because I read fast. There was a little man down at RGR, a rival station. He worked in the stores. Who said, little youth, don't worry yourself, but this won't get tough, man. Just continue. And every time that man would call me every week and encourage. And these are the people who build you up. And as I say, don't be afraid to humble yourself. Humility is necessary. Yeah? Some people might think that the way I told the story is to show off. It's not to show off. It's not to show you what I thought of myself, where I really was in reality relative to the people who never have the degree. They were 39 times better than me. And it was only after I accepted that and humbled myself and allowed myself to learn from them that I started to make progress. So that, as I said, was the greatest lesson in personality engineering. It comes from a place of humility. You people are at this institution. I mean, UTech has its own core values, which are different, but still positive and still laudable. All of you have different influences. Everything in life starts with a humility about your own position in life. Christ was the most humble of people you can ever think about in the history of the world. Yeah? It starts there. So it has to start with humility, and it has to start with a desire to impress. You have to want to put on a show every time you go on air. People don't want to hear, say, boy, you know, say, I'm behind on my mortgage. Boy, you know, say, my husband have problem, or my wife have issues, or one of my boy crash the car and in there jail and get locked up. I don't want to hear that when I turn on the radio. I want to hear your usual bubbly personality. I want to see you reading the news, not making mistakes. I want to hear you on my radio hosting a program and giving me what I always get, which is excellence. That's a challenge that people like us have in the fields that we are working in or the areas that we have to go in. So I hope I would have said at least one thing that you all can hold on to as you go into this area. And the man said wrap up, but you know what we have to do, we have a thief time. Couple seconds to say this. With due respect to my alma mater, who I think my alma mater is the best school in the Caribbean, the University of Technology, Jamaica. Yes? But hold on. My alma mater, all around, is the best tertiary institution in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. I make no apologies for that. However, I've been in a position since 2014 to be interviewing people and hiring people for jobs in media. And without fear of contradiction, the NCU graduates are the best. Listen, let me tell you this. I was saying it to Colleen downstairs. The gap between the NCU media, communication, journalism people and the rest is troubling because it's too big. BACAT and the other programs at UTech are adopting elements that I see that have made NCU this good over years. And these people are being very well trained and they are coming for you. No question about that. But the number one play, listen, can I say this, that I had a bias? I still have a bias. When people come to, there are a lot of NCU people in my office, my Mahiri and Holy for them, and I tell them every day, say, oh no, I'm here because I want where you were trained. When I interview the people and I put them in the positions to do the work, the NCU people hit the ground running. The BACAT people and the people in related fields at UTech are also of that same vein, that same mind, that same ability. The people from that other lauded place who won't call them name, them now cut it. Last example, you have to allow me to say this. In 2021, when did COVID come? 2020. So the Olympics was to have been that year, but it was postponed to the next year, Tokyo. So we did a big Olympics show. We were the broadcasters for the Olympics in the region. So Sportsmax's Olympics thing was huge. I was the lead anchor, and we had a team in Tokyo that we were linking to live. We had a studio at our broadcast house that we were linking to live. We had a studio on the top floor of the digital building that we were linking to live. And we had the main set downstairs with me and Olympians and everything. So it was a lot of coordination. Big production like the TV companies here don't do because they don't do something so big. All right? Watch this now. One morning, the director took ill. And there was nobody to direct. Except there was a youth from NCU who was an intern. The man was only at Sportsmax for the purposes of the Olympics. And they had to put him in the chair. When the coverage was done, I gathered everybody, called them on him from upstairs, everybody. I gathered them, and I said, listen, we need to give this boy a round of applause. He got a standing ovation. The man was brilliant. Adrian from St. Thomas. Why Adrian? I was forget Adrian last name. Adrian. I said to him, youth, either you're an alien or NCU train you good. And I think it's the latter. You can't understand how you put an intern to direct experienced seasons presenters, control cameramen, pick shots, coordinate with Tokyo to do a live feed of video and audio, coordinate with a studio, and the man do that like he was doing it every day. And I said, geez and peas, how many interns could do this? How many directors who are professionals could do that, much less an intern who was just with us maybe 2 or 3 weeks before that day? And that's a signal. That's where, when I talk to the people who lecture you, my friends, I tell you that that's the standard that they have to rise to, and they are rising. But them people here, they will lead the field. Thank you.
All right, that was wonderfully auspicious, don't it? Yeah, man, that was lovely. That was lovely. Honestly, if you could start a podcast, I'm the first subscriber. All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Davis. At this time, my producer has been telling me for the last 5 minutes that we just need to swiftly make our way back up to the chapel so we can finish the second phase of today's symposium. But yes, I love that we were able to learn what personality engineering is, and also gearing us up to succeed in the media world as television and radio broadcasters. And we thank you so much, sir. Yes, thank you so much. But yeah, man, we can head straight back up. Thank you.
Week of excellence, them can't pass without consent. Come out and be broadcast with magnificent.